Hello there, everyone, and welcome to Talk Time. This is my podcasty, talky series chill thing where I just sit here and ramble on for as long as I can. I hope you do enjoy this. I know it's a bit weird, but this is where I basically talk about anything that's on my mind, anything to do with animals, or maybe not to do with animals, or my ridiculous opinions. And if I say something wrong or ridiculous, it's going to be still in here, and you'll understand me more as a person than you would from any other video, chances are. So if you're into that sort of thing, then why don't you stick around? If you're not, then I understand. It's not everyone's cup of tea or anything like that. I don't even like tea, and I'm British. So, yeah, unedited. If I randomly pause, it's because I'm having a drink. I'm addicted to water, I swear to you. Liquids are like my life. As we're speaking, I just recently got a desk. A new desk, because originally I was using a 4-foot Vivarium. I just got a desk about a week ago, and I've cleaned it twice in that time. Right now, I'm surrounded with 6 empty 1.5 litre Highland Spring bottles of water. Not a sponsor. Please sponsor me. I would save so much more money on Springs. As well as 2 cans of Coke. Please don't sponsor me, Coke. I don't want to die from obesity now. I probably will if you sponsor me. Yeah, that is how bad my water addiction is. And as you probably know, the amount of water that goes in, a lot of it comes out. And if you know me and have talked to me for a long or a decent period of time, you will know that I go to pee frequently, quite a lot, more than most people. People are blaming global warming for the ocean temperatures rising, or ocean level rising. That's not global warming. That's me pissing in the ocean. Okay, I pee like a fountain constantly. It's crazy. I'm peeing right now. You don't know. I might be. I don't know. I don't even know anymore. But actually, right, let's move on to the topic. Let's move on to the topic of the video, which I'm probably going to name this topic. So if you've clicked on the video, you know before I know the topic of the video. And you just sat here for 2 minutes listening to me talk about me drinking water and weeing. Sorry. But the topic of today's video is going to be on the animal legislation that's coming to place, as well as what I want to do with my animals, and what would be good practice for the animals. So let's start. Okay, let's start. But first, I'm going to take another drink of my Highland Springs water. Please sponsor me. Wonderful. Okay, so the new legislation that hasn't come into place yet, but they're trying to get it through. I believe the RSPCA has something to do with this, but it's basically meaning that if you have an animal that has given birth and you want to breed it and sell babies, you need a license to sell them. Now, originally, if you wanted to sell for profit, you needed a license. It was a pet shop license. Now, if you say you just have a pet and it gives birth and you have a load of babies, you need a license to sell those on. Now, what would this mean? I don't know. We'll probably have to wait and see if it actually comes through and see the actual outcomes. But in my opinion, it only has bad things. I mean, it will stop people from overbreeding, I guess. However, the people will buy these animals and they will give birth, and either they get killed, they mysteriously disappear, or they get rehomed. So the amount of rehoming animals will increase, and that's a bad thing. The amount of bearded dragons, bull pythons, and red-eared sliders, specifically in the reptile industry, is so large in the rehoming. There's so many of them. I mean, I actually have experienced rehome reptiles and that sort of industry, and the amount of bearded dragons and bull pythons and turtles are ridiculous. There's always turtles, bearded dragons, and bull pythons, and sometimes even corn snakes that needs homes. You will always get calls. You know, if you ever put yourself on, say, Pre-Loved or Gumtree saying we will take unwanted bull pythons, bearded dragons, turtles, you will get calls. You will get calls. And please do not do that just because you think you can get a free reptile. Not a good idea. Kind of scummy thing to do. However, if you actually do want to open up a rehome thing, I believe you need a license to do that professionally. But, I could be wrong. But you will get many calls. I guarantee it. People will try and get rid of their animals because these animals are what's known to be impulse buys by people. Turtles being Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, bearded dragons being just a common thing now, and snakes being something, I don't know, like why people impulse buy snakes. There's just so many of them, I guess. But this legislation is just going to make it harder on the reptile community. Maybe not for the dogs and cats, which is probably why the RSPCA are trying to push this forward, because they've never honestly cared a lot about the reptile community. Now, if you can read a lot of things, the RSPCA have clearly made it clear that they don't think a lot about the reptiles. They're more cats and dogs and small mammals, things like that, which is fine. I'd rather if the one animal organization that has its say in certain things with legislation would care about a much larger community than they actually think it is. So yeah, that's the legislation. Another thing to do with that is I believe they're going to try and knuckle down on people looking after their animals and making sure they actually keep all the sort of documentations for the animals. You know, documentations, especially in pet shops and things, I believe, or zoos, especially zoos. I mean, they already have that in the zoo license, but documentation saying exactly what you got. I don't know if it's going to be about fish as well, because could you imagine counting every single guppy in a tank every day and writing it down? Sounds a bit unrealistic and might need to change. I'm just going to have another swig of my water. Yeah. Yes. But that is the main gist of things. If you know more than me, if I've missed things, which I definitely have, and you know and can pick out what I messed up or said wrong or got right, or maybe, I don't know, don't even know anything about it. If you know that I've slipped up, or you know more than me, clearly, comment down below. Tell me and anyone else that doesn't understand what's going on like I don't. And we will be able to figure out together what the hell's going on with this legislation. Yeah, I know that the .gov website has some stuff on it, I believe. I hope they do. That's where normally it all is. So, you know. But the next topic, and probably the final topic, is what I want to do with my animals. What's the future of my animals? And it kind of links with the legislation, because the legislation wants everyone to knuckle down and keep their animals to be listed, organized, as well as you need a license to breed. So either I get a license to breed and I'm breeding, which I'm not really that interested in, to be honest. I'm not a big morph guy, as a lot of people know. I don't care about fancy morphs. I don't really see the value in one animal that has a brighter color than another one. The natural color is the best color in my opinion. I mean, what's more beautiful and amazing than an animal that has evolved these colors over millions of years through evolution? I find that more amazing than just an albino mutation. I can respect them, but I can't value them more, you know. So I would never probably get into morph breeding. I would consider getting into rarity animals, importing wild caught, and making sure that less of those will be wild caught in the future by producing captive bred babies and increasing the bloodlines and producing secure captive bred populations of these animals, because that not only will stop the animals coming into there's a plane, if you can hear that. I don't know if you can, but yeah, not only will that stop people from importing the animals even more, because you'll be producing so many that it'll be cheaper just to buy them off a captive breeder, but you are supporting the wild population as well. You are making a secure population in captivity, which is conservation. It's a form of conservation, and I like the thought of that. Obviously, I wouldn't be really sort of inbreeding at all, because that would be harmful, and you'll be producing a broken sort of gene pool, which you don't want. A weak gene pool. You want a strong one, just in case the actual wild population dies out, sort of like the axolotls did. And you can hopefully in the future introduce them back at some point with this captive population, which you can't do with like ball pythons, because you can't introduce a bright yellow ball python into the wild. It wouldn't work, and not to mention the amount of inbreeding that's gone involved in the selective breeding, and the gene pools are just a bit messed up and everything. Could you imagine seeing a scaleless corn snake wandering around? There's probably some out there, who knows, and not where they're supposed to be, probably in like some country where they've just released them, or some state, released pets, things like that. So what do I want to do? Selective breeding, if I was to get a license. I actually want to get a DWA though, and maybe possibly in the future a zoo license. But in order to do that, I would have to build a zoo. Indeed. So what I want to actually get done is I've said aim 4 times now, is to build a zoo-like exhibit. By exhibit, I don't mean one enclosure. I mean an exhibit like multiple enclosures in an exhibit. So you could say like a miniature reptile house, like you would have in a zoo. But I want to be able to walk into this reptile house, and you would feel like you're in a zoo, like a chunk of a zoo. I want to build that. There will be large enclosures, viewable, nice enclosures with enrichment, amazing sort of things like that. Signs, lighting from the enclosures outwards. There won't be any sort of lighting in the walkways, because they don't do that. I believe the actual lighting from the enclosures only. I can't remember the exact name. Actually started in London Zoo with the insect house, which I believe now is just the reptile house. But that's quite interesting, and I quite like that. So it brings a lot of focus to the enclosures themselves, as well as all sorts of things. So my end goal for that means that I would have educational stuff, and all sorts of things. So I could have either a private collection that I can do things with, or if I needed to or got the chance to, I could apply for a zoo license, and with what I've built, be able to get that zoo license. Which is my end goal. That's my end goal. Until I would get a zoo license and then start ridiculous things like have a giraffe and a rhino. That might not be a realistic goal, but that's my aim. I want to get caiman and crocodilians. I want to get large monitors. I have a bosque and a tegu, but I want to get larger reptiles. I'm not a small reptile guy. I've kind of grown to realize that. I have some small, I have leopard geckos and things like that, and I'm kind of like meh now with them. I know it sounds awful, but that's what happens when you have loads of different animals. You get to realize that you're into some things and you're not into other things, but it's okay. I still like my other animals, my smaller animals, and I still care for them. And, it's just that I feel a lot more enthusiasm when I see a large monitor lizard than I do with a small reptile. I mean, it sounds mean. It does. And it sounds worse than it is. I'm not saying it the right way. I don't not like leopard. I like my small reptiles. They're cool. They're amazing when you want to build large enclosures with smaller animals. That's quite interesting, because what I want to do is build a 4 foot by 4 foot, by say like 6 foot tall, and be able to stock those with bearded dragons, things like that, bearded dragon, play lizards, and other sort of desert things in those sort of enclosures, as well as having tall enclosures where I could have thrill dragons, water dragons, blue tongue snakes, all sorts of different things like that. Carpet pythons, different snakes. Those sort of things would be a plan as well that I've already planned. I've actually done 3D models of sort of ideas in my head. I might show them on screen if I can find them again. But that's, all sorts of things. So small reptiles are very cool in larger enclosures. I just don't like the whole smaller reptile in like a 10-gallon. Kind of, it's sort of meh. Half the hobby for me, I feel, and I haven't got to do that a lot with this. Half of the hobby is building enclosures and offering them insane enrichment. For example, I get so jealous when I see like Camp Kennan with his water monitor swimming around a man-made concrete pond and things. I'm just like, oh my god. I'm so jealous because I want to build enclosures that I can allow certain behaviours to come out and things like that. That's what I want. That's half the hobby. And I can't do that with like a leopard gecko in a 10-gallon. I could probably do that in a leopard gecko in like a 4 foot by 4 foot. Have a couple of them. Build like a fake concrete background and different ledges and recreate its natural habitat. Because a zoo isn't supposed to show off pets. I noticed that Brian Barczyk is doing that. He's getting loads of random animals for his zoo thing, which I'm pretty sure is just an excuse to just randomly get more animals and pop them in different things and enjoy them. That's up to him. But that's not a zoo. A zoo is supposed to exhibit wild animals in what they would look like in the wild. They're supposed to show those animals off. You can't do that if you have albino animals, 3-headed turtles, things like that. Yeah, because that's not wild. But get natural looking animals. I mean, what's wrong with that? I love them, and that's what a zoo does. I've lost my train of thought. Yeah, I'm trying to think of where I was. I've completely forgotten. I've drawn a blank. It's so professional. I know. I'm so professional. So in 17 minutes in, I'm gonna try and go for 20. And I'm gonna get off this topic of future animals in case and go to a completely different random topic, bit of a discussing topic in a second. Just to end it. But yeah, that's my plan. I hope you find that interesting, and I'd love to see your ideas. If you have a zoo-like thing, or if you even own a zoo, maybe that would be quite interesting. Send me pictures. I'd love to see those. Tell me in the comments what your ideas are. Tell me what animals I should get. I wouldn't probably get any venomous hot snakes, I guess you'd say. The most venomous thing I'll probably get would be a false water cobra, which is rear-fanged, and you don't even need a DWA to own those, I don't think. But they're just such a pretty animal, and they're good swimmers as well. So yeah, I'd like to see enrichment with those. I love enrichment. I love offering my animals loads of different enrichment and seeing how they react to things. That's all the fun with it, really, isn't it? Yeah, I'm gonna get off of this topic before I just blabber on for another hour. For a whole ridiculous hour or something. Because I know you don't want to listen to that, and chances are I don't want to listen to that while listening over to make sure the audio is all good. So, the final topic I'm going to talk about today is something a bit disgusting. So if you want to leave now, you have been warned. Yesterday I actually ate these Mattison's Savages pork meteors. Pork meteors. I'm actually reading the packet right now because I haven't binned it yet. They're hot and spicy. They're pork sausages. Sorry if you're vegan. They're pork balls or meatball looking things. By the people that did Fridge Raiders, I believe. Not a sponsor. No one's sponsoring me. In fact, I can't earn money now off YouTube, so I'm kind of poor. Please sponsor me. I don't have a Patreon either. Should I make a Patreon? I don't know. But these things, I was like, okay, try them. They weren't spicy. They just tasted like cheap meatballs. Pork meatballs. Wake up this morning. Thought, oh, my stomach hurts a little bit. That's funny. Why is that doing that? Went to the toilet. Sat there for about an hour. Defecating my entire insides. Sorry, people. I apologise for my drastic thing, but that's why I left this topic last, because most people will probably leave, and I've kind of punished the people that are I punished you guys who actually listened all the way through. I'm sorry. But I was defecating. I was like, what's causing this? I haven't eaten anything bad. And then something horrible happened. My bumhole started burning. Like I had a madras, a curry. A horrible burning curry. But I haven't had a curry. And the only thing that's spicy are these meatballs. These things that are supposedly hot and spicy. They weren't spicy on the way in, but they were spicy on the way out. And they're called Savages. It says Savages on the packet, and that must be a warning, because it savaged your insides. It destroys them. I was in so much pain. I felt like I was going to die. It was awful. And that wasn't even an over-exaggeration. I literally was like almost crying, going into insanity on the toilet. My blooming trousers around my ankles. Just, oh my god, it was awful. It was like rusty water spewing everywhere. It was disgusting. I'm never going to have them again. Please don't sue me, Mattison's Savages Pork Meteors. However, if you are wanting to take me to court over something, I'd like some compensation for my bumhole pain, because that hurt. It hurt so much. Yeah. Didn't smell good either. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm going to end it here. I'm going to go now. I'm sorry. I should have gone before I even mentioned my bumhole or anything about those meat sausage things. Balls things. Pork. Yeah. What have we learnt today? Let's sum this whole thing up. What have we learnt today? I drink a lot of water. Legislations are changing here in the UK to do with reptiles and all animals. I want to open a zoo someday. And my bumhole hurt. Thanks for watching. And I hope to see you in another video. Even after my drastic story. I can't believe I'm going to upload this video, honestly. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next Talk Time or any other video I do. Bye, everyone.